I'm going all the way. I'm going all the way. I don't want none of these hoes, feel like they all the same.
Yes, sir. It is your boy K, be the boss from shiftermagazine.com. And I'm here with an artist who's been making some noise in the GTA. He's been rising and doing his thing, making noise with some big tracks in 2021. And I'm very excited sitting down with Scarborough's very own NF Portion. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you a lot.
No problem. So let's go back to the beginning. You know, the name, because the name kind of stands out. So it's a very unique name, like NF Portion. Like, when what's the significance behind your artist name?
NF is actually it's a collective with like producers, everybody that I just came up with, and it stands for nonfiction, and just stands for just being real type shit, and just in terms of Portion, it just is a name that stuck with me from a youth. I got it from my bro. He kind of just called me one day and it just stuck. So the F is nonfiction, and the Portion is just a name that stuck with me. I guess because I'm a piece of him, I guess. You know?
Okay, that's good, man. And so you came up in Scarborough. So how does Scarborough kind of influence your music, whether content wise, sound wise? Like how has Scarborough, just as your environment, kind of shaped you as an artist and a person?
I think it just coming from the mud. Like if you've ever been to Scarborough, you know. So just coming from the mud and just kind of seeing different aspects, and then like also going around the world and seeing that, you know, the same thing happens everywhere. So just Scarborough in general, just that kind of just teaching me about the roots of where I come from, and just keeping me grounded at all times in terms of like just being grateful for the situation that I'm in, just being grateful to put out music, just being grateful to do what I love and get paid for it, right? So
and I noticed with like a lot of people from Scarborough, like I feel like there's a sense of pride that a lot of people from Scarborough have that, like, I don't think any other part of the GTA really kind of has that same level of pride. Like even when I see, like, you know, I see people from Scarborough perform shows outside of Toronto, they're always like, yo, my name is so-and-so and I'm from Scarborough. They don't say I'm from Toronto. It's like, I'm from Scarborough. I'm from Scarborough. And I feel like there's like this sense of like Scarborough pride among people from Scarborough that you don't see from like North York, or you don't see from like Etobicoke or anything like that.
Scarborough kind of like sticks together in a sense of like, obviously there's politics and stuff that come with the streets, but in terms of like the industry wise, like if we are talking about like DJs and VJs and like people just of the music, I feel like Scarborough sticks together. And just in general, like, you know, I feel like once you see somebody from Scarborough and even in a Toronto setting, you're like, okay, we have a connection, you know?
Yeah.
Compared to like the West End, which is like kind of over dominant, you know, in terms of like just energy. I feel like the West, like once you see a West person's energy, you just get that West.
Yeah.
East Coast, we're kind of more cool, laid back, but at the same time, it's really about just connecting on a personal level, for real.
Yeah. So growing up, like, when did you kind of realize that like music was a thing for you? Like that's something that you wanted to do?
Definitely early on, I was really like into music as a kid, but later on as I grew up, like, you know, I got into like other stuff, street stuff, basketball, whatever, you know. And like during like high school, I would say I stopped caring about it. And then after high school, when I was around like 20, I said like 2015, however old I was at that time, like my homie passed away. So it had kind of like triggered me to like go back to the music and in a way to get out my feelings. So, you know?
So I imagine, like, just even going back again, like imagine, like, you know, a lot of Black families, like, you're probably hearing all kinds of different music growing up in the house. You know, you're probably hearing everything, like, you know, because I know a lot of Black families are hearing some, you know, you might be hearing some reggae, you might be hearing some Phil Collins, like, you know, all kind of stuff. So you must have grew up with like a lot of different kinds of music in your home.
My mom was into all type of music. Like music doesn't have no race. So that's really like what I was taught as a kid. Like, you know, like my mom would have her days where she listening to Elvis and like, you know, like all that shit. So it's like Um, it's just different genres I was just brought up listening to in the household. And my mom's like older, you know, I got a lot of older siblings. So yeah, just kind of like just growing up with them and just seeing that and that influencing me. Even like I remember very young, I realized like I heard my mom play a song and then I heard it being sampled in Dipset anthem. They sampled Sanchez. And then from that I just started to like fall in love with like, damn, like let me go through all my mom's CDs and see if I could find a song that was sampled. And then I'll just go through each CD and kind of find like, you know, songs that were sampled at the moment. So yeah, I would definitely say I was into music as a young kid, and the household definitely influenced that.
Now you mentioned that you kind of just it's pretty recent that you kind of started making music again, like 2015. You've had some good like kind of independent success. Signed obviously signed a label deal earlier this year. Like I know that's a big debate for people. It's like, a lot of people just want to do the independent thing. They want to do some people, it's almost like people have kind of frowned a little bit on the whole like getting a label thing. Like for you personally, what went into the decision for you, like because you had a little bit of independent success, what went into the decision for you to say, you know what, I want to make that decision to kind of get that support?
Just understanding the business more, just understanding like how much money you get from streams compared to how much money you can get for an advance, or how much money you can get, and like banking on yourself. A lot of the times we're not like business savvy. We don't like write down every expense. So you don't even know how much money you're putting out in order to get back pennies, So really it was just kind of like a business decision. And just I wanted to like I also wanted to like reach the masses. I feel like my music is a lot bigger than Toronto. As much as it's influenced me, as much as my city's influenced me, it's a lot bigger than Toronto. So I definitely wanted to expand past my city. So I felt like that was something that I needed to do. I also just like, this is something that I don't want to hide. I don't want to, like, a lot of artists act like they're independent even though they're signed, So I don't really want, that's not something that I'm a fan of. I just wanted to kind of like inspire the youth in terms of just showing them that, you can make it out of your situation, and you can now turn this music into a corporate business, into something that is tangible, something that your family could live on for,
It's interesting you mentioned like just your music being bigger than Toronto, because I'm like, just listening to the songs, I'm like, okay, this has a different, it doesn't sound like typical music I'm hearing out of Toronto right now. Like it has like a bigger sound. It has like, I feel like I'm hearing some like Gunna in there, some Young Thug, some YSL type of, so it's interesting that you kind of mentioned that it's bigger than just Toronto. Cause like when I'm hearing it, I'm like, oh shoot, this sounds like something that I feel like people in the States are going to get behind. Like people in different cities are going to be like, oh, like I can resonate with this.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to make something that the world could feel like. I don't know if you heard the project, I'm Nothing Without, but yeah, like with that, I wanted to make every song kind of like a celebration. The theme of the whole project is like kind of like turning your pain to champagne. So I kind of wanted to, like, it starts off a little bit deeper. It starts off like with Drink Money Come By, and then the second half of it goes into a little bit more braggadocious. And yeah, I just wanted to make it as much turning your pain to champagne is like the concept of the project. So I definitely wanted to make something where the whole world can relate and just celebrate with me, because I feel like sometimes a lot of my music before was like based off the pain, and a lot of times that is relatable, but a lot of times you get into other settings where people don't necessarily relate to it, like people that don't listen to hip-hop or go through the same pain struggles that I be going through in terms of like whatever, like, the stuff that comes with the streets. So yeah, I feel like the celebration music kind of is more worldwide. So yeah, I feel like that's why the project more sounds like,
Mm-hmm.
And I also made it while traveling a lot. So.
Mm-hmm. And how did the whole thing kind of like, what was your approach creatively with the project? Was it like, were you writing? Were you kind of just like punching in? Like, what was kind of the vibe like, or the process like when you putting the whole thing together?
It's different because like I'll just do whatever to get the record done. Like if I gotta write, I'll write. If I gotta do it off the top, I could tell you like the majority of the songs is off the top though. Like the majority of the songs, I just be punching in line by line.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably maybe a few. No, I think there's only one verse that I actually wrote on there, and it's
Okay.
like only half of the verse, like the second half. So, yeah, like now that I think about it, everything is punching.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no, that's good, man. That's cool. Are you surprised at all? Just, I mean, obviously you're getting numbers like, all the everything you released so far this year has been like, 100,000 streams or more, like on Spotify, whatever. Um, are you surprised at all just by the traction you've been able to get this year? Or are you kind of like, nah, this is what I expect. This was according to plan. Like, it's like, it's like, or do you have those?
Definitely, it's according to plan. But at the same time, I feel like like I said, I'm very humble. I'm very like thankful for my position.
Mhm.
So, yeah, like it's just been a long time coming, and like I kind of plan out everything that I do. So like a lot of my videos are directed by me. Like a lot of my like visuals, picture wise, are like I know exactly what I want. So it's like, yeah, like I just try to. What was the question again? Sorry, I got lost. I got lost.
No. I was just asking if you're kind of like, if just with all the traction you got this year, if you're surprised by it, or if it's kind of like you having those pinch me moments, like,
Yeah,
oh, I can't believe this is happening. Like, are you
yeah.
kind of like, are you
Pinch
like,
me
nah?
moment was the pinch me moment was definitely when I got the 3 covers
Mm-hmm.
for Northern Bars. Uh, what's the other one? Toronto. I think Northern Touch, and
Mm-hmm.
then Amazon gave me a cover too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was all for the same for the 3 songs. That was my first release on the label. So
Mm-hmm.
even they were like surprised and excited. So yeah, that was definitely like a moment where I'm like, damn, like it's crazy how much infrastructure and people just hearing your music can do. Like because I had been sitting on that song. I actually recorded that song June 2020, and I didn't release it until May 2021.
Okay.
So you could just imagine a year sitting on that song. I shot the video in January before I even signed the label deal. So that was already something that I was sitting on, like, so
Mm-hmm.
crazy how
And and
everything worked out.
and I read that you paid for that video on your own, just even before signing. You kind of like invested in that video.
Yeah, definitely. Like that, that's been my motto, like, and if you watch any of my videos before I got signed, it's just, I just always try to be creative. I always try to be, just on point with the visuals, and on point with just like bringing something creative to the game. I also know that like the game is also a lot of copycat, like Me Too type of stuff, and I know like you kind of have to be in a certain circle, like regardless of how you do your music, it's still got to be a certain way. Like, okay, if you want to do boom bap, there's this many categories of boom bap. If you're gonna do trap, there's this many. There's pop. There's kind of like a balance of how things are supposed to sound. So kind of, um, I'm just focused on. I just focused in on the sound really.
And looking forward, where do you kind of see yourself, going? Like, what's the goal for you, like career wise, musically? Like, where do you kind of like forecast, if you want to kind of speak some things in the universe, like where do you kind of see yourself kind of going with the
Definitely.
music?
I feel like definitely just taking it further with the music, but just in terms of adding to my resume and entertainment wise, I definitely think like acting would be something cool. I like everything that 50's doing with like BMF and Power and
Mm,
all those.
yeah.
Um, I think that getting into like clothing would be cool, like in terms of like not just only merch, but in terms of like kind of building up a brand, like kind of like ASAP Rocky did with Vlon. Like just building up and kind of just branching out into different things. But definitely, like I got a lot of stuff coming up, different
Mm.
merch and just different things.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Maybe, speaking of 50, maybe you could be the one to bring those like Scarborough stories to the small screen, like a Scarborough top boy or a Scarborough,
Definitely. That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to be an innovator for the city, definitely, like in terms of doing things that people haven't seen yet. Like Drake is a big one, Press is a big one that has broken a lot of barriers for the underground. And then yeah, I'm just trying to be the next one.
Mm-hmm. Well, man, I'm very excited to see what you've been doing. And I love the work ethic though, because I feel like a lot of people when they think about getting signed, they kind of like, maybe they let the label do all the work. But for you, it seems like you kind of have that mindset of like, even though you're signed, you still gotta like, you still have a vision for the videos, you still have a vision for what you want to do, and you're not leaving it just to the label to do stuff. You're kind of like, hey, like it seems like you're kind of driving the vision of what it is that you want to do.
Yeah. I never leave stuff to the label, honestly. I kind of just focusing on what I want, focusing on what I like, and kind of just hope that they rock with it. Cause I know just how creative I am. I know just how like into the music I am. And like, a lot of my videos are like inspired by like Kendrick, like shit. And then music wise, I just draw inspiration from wherever.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good, man. Once again, I just wish you all the best, man, and we'll be watching as you continue to drop more music and as you continue to fulfill the vision. We know you'll be successful, so we'll be here watching. For people who haven't been following you on social media, where can people find you on Instagram, Twitter, wherever you are?
You can follow me at NF Portion on all social media platforms, on YouTube and Spotify, Apple Music, all the DSPs. You can find me at Portion. I'm Nothing Without will be out by the time you guys hear this, and yeah, hopefully everybody gets it.
Once again, this is Scarborough's very own Portion, and thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me. You really made my night, for real.